Tyler, another big week in agriculture news. A lot of talk about milk dumping as a result of a labor action in Quebec. What's at play there, and what should consumers take away from the fact that milk is being dumped at the moment?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Yeah, it's certainly another busy week, and it's unfortunate when we have issues like this, which at its heart is a labor dispute at a processing plant. You know, that's something where we hope that the management and the unions can come together and find an agreement. But you know, we've got a food system that is built to be efficient and to be resilient, but ultimately built to deliver an affordable food product to consumers. And that means we don't have a lot of extra capacity built into that system. That means when our supply chain has disruptions like a labor dispute, there can be issues. This can be pretty acute in dairy, where milk is a very perishable commodity. It's only got so long to go from the cow to the processing plant where it can get pasteurized and then go off to consumers. And so we've seen the situation where when a labor disruption happens, milk can't make that, and there may be nowhere else for milk to go. But you know, this isn't just a dairy issue. It's acute in dairy where it's a perishable commodity, but we've seen this throughout COVID and in other labor disputes. There were challenges with pork production when there were labor disputes at pork plants that jeopardized their ability or prevented them from processing it. Kind of the pigs got backed up on the farm, and their normal supply chain got disrupted. You know, I think the good news is that these cases don't happen very often. We do a pretty good job of making sure that we're avoiding food loss and food waste at all costs. Our system is built to get as much of that food from farmers to the consumer as possible. It is unfortunate when situations like this arise, but the good news is they don't arise often, and usually agreements get reached so that the loss is limited.
And some other good news: common sense seems to be alive and well, at least in some quarters. The beef and pork labeling saga that we talked about in recent weeks, there's been a change of heart.
Yeah, I think it you know, a change of heart. You know, government going back to what was originally intended. Again, you know, we've talked about this in the past. The proposal was, you know, or what the original initiative was to say we need to better educate consumers about food that's not healthy, that's high in fats or sugars or sodium, high in salt. And what happened was government went out and said, you know, rather than just targeting the ultra processed foods like was originally envisaged and advocated for, they were going after ground beef or ground pork. You know, these are foods that are barely processed at all. These are foods that are staple single commodity foods. These are affordable sources of protein. And so it was good, yes, to see government say, you know, wait a minute, we're gonna change course, we're gonna change tack, we're gonna still deliver that information that consumers need around, you know, processed foods. We're gonna make it easier for people to understand. If you're buying chocolate pudding or crackers or something where there's, you know, you look on the back of the product list, it could have an ingredient list that's 10 or 15 things long. We're going to make it easier for people to understand whether or not those things are good or bad for them. But we're not going to go after, you know, these simple single ingredient foods that really are can be staple parts of a healthy diet for consumers.